Lalibela in northern Ethiopia, 2,500 meters above sea level. Peter Bachmann and his foundation have been providing support to the local population there for over a decade. One of the projects concerns the mechanical workshop belonging to Ephraim. The foundation gave their owner, who is hearing impaired and unable to speak, a mini loan, enabling him to secure a regular income. Ephraim used to have a motorbike on which he traveled far and wide to carry out repairs. He had to carry all his materials and tools with him. We decided to give him a small loan to help him set up his own workshop. A year ago, Ephraim lost his wife, who had been seriously ill. Despite this terrible blow, he had never given up on his dream of having his own workshop. It has paid dividends. The small business is doing well, not least of all because Ephraim knows his way around and make a vehicle and car repair any car. As one of only 2 workshops, I'm able to repair any car in Lalibela. The biggest problem I have is sourcing spare parts. In many cases, they are only to be found in Arba Minch or Addis Ababa, which are some 750 or 550 miles away. This is a problem, especially when things are busy. Cars also get dirty and have to be washed. Therefore, the foundation has also financed another project, a car wash. It looks a bit different to what we are used to here. The approach to washing the car is very simple, but efficient nonetheless. The Vic Oyster car wash was opened 2 years ago, named after the former member of the legendary trio Oyster singing group. When he visited, the former singer was also happy to lend a hand washing cars. He is delighted today that it is still up and running and is frequently used. The young men who work here all used to be street children. They had no prospects in their rural hometown and villages when they were young, so they came to Lalibela in the hope of finding work here. Peter Bachmann has at least opened the door for them with the car wash. While the setup might be very rudimentary, the lads set about their work creatively to ensure that no car has to stay dirty. And that's what the foundation stands for, standing on their own feet, helping people to help themselves and giving them a chance to have a go. The projects, which are aimed at helping people to help themselves, also include a mechanical workshop. Metal parts, windows, and window frames are manufactured there. Things are going so well for small businesses that the owner has already taken on 3 employees. There is another workshop not far away. It makes cookers and other appliances. The small business is so successful that it supplies its products nationwide. I'm always astonished and so impressed at how innovatively and efficiently people use the limited resources that they have at their disposal. Peter Bachmann first met Yaya Baye when he was only a child. He had the option of having both legs and both hands amputated to prevent his disease spreading. Peter Bachmann did not allow this to happen, opting instead to send him to India for special treatment. Since then, Yaya has grown up, got married, and has a child. He is also no longer marginalized. Elderly people and people with disabilities live in the most undignified conditions in the middle of improvised Lalibela. They are the poorest of the poor. Their existence essentially depends upon support from the Peter Bachmann Foundation. It guarantees social aid to people who are unable to work, but even then, the living conditions are still difficult enough, as the residents reveal. Life is tough. I do not have any family and I am disabled. I've often been discriminated against in the past. It is not only the blindness, my age is also a challenge. You lose strength. However, I am proud to have been chosen by the foundation to receive aid. Despite everything, this means that I still have a life. The government still charges rent and housing in communities for poor people. That is hard to comprehend under the prevailing conditions. This makes her all the more grateful for everything that the foundation does. Peter means everything to me. Thanks to him, I have money every month to make ends meet. Everything that I have is thanks to the foundation. The Amano village is one of the biggest projects undertaken by the Peter Bachmann Foundation. 29 houses painted green were built to rehouse people from former World Vision emergency accommodations, which had to make way for a road to be built. When Peter Bachmann found out that the people faced the prospect of being made homeless, he acted. The entire project cost $84,000. While the houses do not have any sanitary facilities, a communal toilet was built. As far as the residents are concerned, the new housing is miles better than what they had before. We lived in the most appalling conditions in the World Vision village. It felt as if we were being housed in a metal toilet. We could never have dreamed that we would someday get to life in the accommodations that we have now. Despite the foundation, Lalibela is still home to a very large number of needy people who are dependent on donations. Peter Bachmann is hoping to help them with future projects as well. He wants to ensure that in the future everyone has a roof over their head when the sun goes down. Just as we all occasionally did when we were young, the children on the streets of Lalibela get up to mischief too. The problem here is that young people in Ethiopia are not exactly looking to a rosy future. Many of them are unemployed, and there is a danger that they will slide into a life of crime. In order to counter this and to reduce levels of aggression, the foundation has decided to support the local Taekwondo club. Peter Bachmann's portrait adorns the new hall as a gesture of appreciation for everything that he has done for the club. As the coach of the Taekwondo club points out, they cannot thank him enough. Peter is not just a very important person for me, he also matters greatly to everyone here in Lalibela. Everyone knows how much development work he does. He has an excellent reputation here, everyone knows him. Despite that, I think that he is yet to receive the recognition that he really deserves. Many people only see the projects that have been done and have no idea how much work has gone into them. Peter Bachmann is in attendance at the official opening of the gymnasium. All the Taekwondo students form a guard of honor for the man who made it possible for the hall to be built and for their suits to be bought. This occasion is witnessed by politicians and clergymen from Lalibela. The fact that they had taken the time to do this demonstrates the importance of the project. Taekwondo is very important for the children. It is character building and shapes their behavior. Many children in Lalibela spend their time pestering tourists. Taekwondo gives them the chance to get away from their everyday lives. We're not just training their bodies, but also their minds. That will stand them in good stead in later life. Using a photograph as an example in which people are symbolized by stones, Peter Bachmann explains that every person carries instinct weight and that every person's life matters. The loan from every person's life has a weight which lends support to the next one. This is the only way in which we can live together as a whole group. Just as it is with Taekwondo, success requires everyone to play their part. The building was constructed using cement blocks which had been produced locally in a newly established cement works. People carry the gravel on their shoulders and work in their sandals. Production is currently going so well that it is also supplying to other areas. A bumpy country road, Gashina, 2 hours drive south of Lalibela. That is the location of the Emmanuel Clinic, a small village in the middle of nowhere. It was built between 2010 and 2015 with funds from the foundation after a student had asked Peter Bachmann for help. As a young boy, Ashinafi had lost his ill father because there was no doctor in the town who could have helped. This prompted him to train to be a doctor himself. With the support of the foundation, he studied at the university and built his first small clinic. The Emmanuel Clinic in Gashina opened its doors in 2015. Ashinafi, who is currently doing his master's in medicine, can now undertake practically any treatment.
Any kind of treatment that...
We perform medium-level treatments, actually everything except major operations. We can perform minor surgery, treat contagious diseases, and also help patients with chronic illness. We really do everything except major operations. The hospital is very simply structured. It contains 11 rooms, each of which is used for a special purpose. It even has a delivery room, although this looks very different to the delivery suites that we are familiar with. A blood test is currently being conducted here in the laboratory. The girl could have syphilis. It is difficult to say how this could have happened. However, it is not uncommon for someone to present with those symptoms in this clinic.
It's a rural area.
The most frequent diagnosis is infectious diseases. We are in a rural community and the people are ill-informed about prevention and protection. That is why we have so many contagious diseases, especially among children. And not least of all, sexually transmitted diseases such as HIV, gonorrhea, or syphilis.
Such kind of sexual transmitted disease, HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis.
Last year, Ashinafi's team of 8 treated over 3,000 patients. There are up to 20 new admissions every day. The team is working to capacity. In addition to that, drugs have to be transported over 450 miles. Hospital staff do not stay very long either because Gashina is very remote. There is positive news to report on the waterfront. A well was built 2 years ago and it was personally opened by Vic Oyster. It has given the clinic important water supply lines, and there is no sufficient access to water. The former Oyster singer is naturally now delighted that everything is working properly. What began 12 years ago with the tragic death of a family's father has now developed into a project which has become vital for the region. Even though Ashinafi could find better jobs in Ethiopia, he wishes to remain in Gashina to continue to develop the clinic and to devote his life to the people of the surrounding towns. However, he is dependent upon the foundation in order to realize his dream. As he says, being a doctor isn't a job, it is a vocation. Even though the foundation is supporting well over 100 projects, Peter Bachmann has not tired yet. Further projects are planned in the Holy City, one of which concerns the water supply. A small stream emanates from 3 water sources. People come from far afield every day to collect water, including from places where the water is no longer clean due to animals and environmental factors. The foundation wishes to access the sources and lay pipelines. The project will cost $60,000, but is a pet project of the founder. There are people who are chronically ill with leprosy living on the site of a former hospital. They live with many challenges and are still marginalized. The self-help group works and produces various artifacts. It would be helpful if we had better light or better place in order to work more effectively and more efficiently.
On leprosy disabled persons.
They could change their standings as outsiders by improving their working conditions. Bachmann would happily support this self-help group through the foundation. Many improvements could be achieved in the first phase with 50,000 francs. The search for donation is ongoing. The Peter Bachmann Foundation has set up a homeless shelter to help elderly people who are living on the streets. When Peter Bachmann visited Addis for the first time 12 years ago, he was horrified to see how many elderly people are there sleeping rough. He decided to help.
Is the founder of this center.
Terfa, the center manager, met Peter Bachmann at the time and asked him for help. The foundation then decided to support the project by providing funding for food, bedding, and mattresses.
Beds and other materials.
Peter Bachmann welcomes 80 homeless people today. They come to the shelter at lunchtime to pray together. They receive lunch consisting of a flatbread and sauce. They eat the same thing every day. As the shelter does not have enough capacity for everyone, some of the homeless people have to return to the streets at night and find somewhere to sleep. Therefore, many of them only eat half of their injera at lunchtime, so that they have something left to eat in the evening. Peter Bachmann has particular commitment to this project as it involves older people. Shelter manager Terfa Dinkas knows what it means for rough sleepers to have a bed and a roof over their head. Even though he did not want to go in front of the camera from fear of the government, which maintained silence about social issues in Ethiopia, he still spoke out.
This old man...
We found an elderly man on the street and brought him to our hostel. We made his bed up and got everything ready for him. When he saw the center of the first time and we showed him his freshly made bed, he said, "Now we are in heaven."
He said, "Now we are in heaven."
Even if the achievements are only modest, the support from the foundation is particularly important due to the political situation. In its way, this project typifies the foundation as a whole. Support is given where help is needed, irrespective of age, religion, or background.